welcome in to another Tuesday edition of Nebraska Huskers Live. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Transfer portal news. Nebraska's got a new defensive line coach. Is Mike Eckler gone? Yikes. Not something I want to talk about today. And we got Nebraska ball today or tonight against Oregon. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but welcome in. Brought to you by FanDuel. So I appreciate FanDuel again for sponsoring the show. And yeah, Brian, how you doing today, man?
Well,
how
I was
were you
doing good
before
until
the
about
news?
10 minutes ago. How about
Yeah.
you? I know you're riding high after that win.
Pretty much the same. Yeah. I've been consuming Texans content all day because holy cow, we got a generational defense. So
very good.
I feel great about that. But we have a quarterback that has the Monstars have come in and taken his skill away. CJ Stroud does not even know how to field a snap. Kind of reminds me of Jeff Sims a little bit lately.
I don't know what
Jeff
happened.
Sims versus Colorado. That's what that game reminded me of. You know where Jeff Sims couldn't field a damn snap?
Yeah, that was bad.
That's what that game was.
I think that defense is going to carry you a little ways, though.
Yeah, I mean, if Stroud can
just get his skill back, I don't know what happened. That was the most bizarre thing I've seen from him ever.
If he could just be a game manager, I think we can make the Super Bowl. Honestly,
yeah, he's good. He just needs to figure it out.
Yeah, I like our defense against Drake May. He just needs to not. What? Sorry, my dog's
God, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
All right. Well, my dog wanted to make a cameo in the video, so my dog's in the background. That was funny. All right. So where do we want to start here? Do we want to start with portal, Cory Brown? What do we want to start with? Let's start with Cory Brown. Then we'll get to the portal because there are some additions on the defensive line. We'll get into the
Eckler I want to give some time for this Eckler news to sort itself out. It was kind of starting to pick up steam yesterday, and now it's really picking up steam. So we kind of want to see what's going on before we address it full steam.
Yeah. So we'll give it some time just to see if we get any updates. But let's start with Cory Brown. Nebraska hired their new defensive line coach out of Miami of Ohio. Does have ties to Coach Rob Arch over at South Dakota, and had a pretty good stint over there. It's not, again, like we talked about, we didn't really need the sexy hire. But again, it's one of those relationship hires. You got somebody who he's familiar with, who he's had success with. And I'm kind of not one of those that's ready to grade this right now, just because we do that every year where we kind of grade these coaching hires and stuff like that. Like, I'm totally in the wait and see approach so far. And we'll talk about what it's led, what we got in the portal as well at the defensive line position. But how do you feel about the Cory Brown hire?
It's not the sexy hire, but I think continuity is important, which you talked about briefly there with his experience with Coach Orich at at South Dakota. Okay. There is a familiarity with the scheme, with the coaching techniques, etc. That is important. Also, I look at this very similar in a way to what we're trying to do with the portal, and you're looking for production as opposed to splash. Now, Elijah Robinson would be that splash hire. Cory Brown has the production without that splash. So
yes,
in his 2 stints at Miami of Ohio, his first stint was 4 years, and they accumulated 90 sacks in 4 years. In his second stint, they've accumulated 52 sacks, which is 2 years. So 26 per year, which is more than double what Nebraska's entire defense did. Those are just his defensive line sacks, not the entire defensive sacks. So that's really a lot of production from the defensive line, but also
I can't deal with my dog in the background right now.
It's a little distracting, but it's all good.
Oh my God. Go ahead.
But 9 all-conference players, whether that be first, second, or third team, during his tenure, both the 4-year stint and the 2-year stint. So there's production there that shows you that he can develop talent when he doesn't have the 5-star, the 4-star guys. He's working with 2- and 3-star guys, a lot of JUCO guys probably. He's developing them into all-conference players. He's getting some of them to the league. Now you're hoping that translate with the better talent that he's going to have access to at Nebraska on the current roster, and on top of who he can bring in through the portal, which he's already got 2 commitments within, a couple hours of being hired, and then what he can do in the high school ranks in the 2027 class plus the portal season this time next year. So overall, I mean, it is a wait and see, but it does have me feeling good because of kind of his resume. It's not the most lofty resume. There's Big Ten experience in there for a little bit as well. But pretty good hire. I don't like that it took this long. It took way. It hurt Nebraska in the portal big time.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah, it set us back in the portal big time. And kind of like you said, I think I share a similar sentiment with him having, experience coaching some of these guys who need a lot more development. I think that will ultimately help him. And I like the continuity hire. I do. I like that it's somebody who has a relationship to the defensive coordinator, not Matt Rule. I think that's one of the bigger things too, is like it's continuity in that sense. If it was continuity with Matt Rule, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much. But this is probably somebody that Rob Orich wanted on this team, and they went out and got. So, with him just coming on, I trust kind of his judgment on that. If he thinks this is going to be a good pickup, then I trust that. And again, I'm in a wait and see approach. Can't grade it quite yet, but was able to go out and get a couple portal guys. Which do you want to move over to the portal now?
Yeah, we can. While we're at it too, talking about how this hire hurt Nebraska in the portal. That Excel sheet that I found that someone tagged me in, that's part of Voice of College Football. They actually have like every prospect that visited Nebraska or Nebraska was recruiting confirmed with whoever their sources are. I had no idea who owns this Excel sheet, which is the craziest thing that I found.
Appreciate
Nebraska, whoever did it, appreciate you.
Yep.
Nebraska had 9 defensive tackles that they brought in for visits or were in communications with. And that's not including the guys that committed.
Yeah.
So of the guys committed, you add in Andy Burbuja, I think is how you say it, Whittington and Anthony Jones. So now you're at 12 defensive tackle or defensive line visitors, and you only landed 3. And 2 of them came after you hired Cory.
It's not a very good success rate.
No, it's not great.
First, before we get into the defensive line portal guys, I will say, Matt Rule kind of coins the team as our internal transfer portal. So a couple of good news things from there. Andrew Marshall and Vincent Shavers both will be returning to Nebraska. So good news there. Both of those are going to be key pieces next year. So huge to get Marshall back, who we got in the portal last year. And then, of course, Vincent Shavers, we all know, is just an absolute stud. So really good at keeping him. I don't know how I would have coped with the Shavers loss. Probably about as well as I would cope with a Mike Eckler loss. Yeah.
He did say after the bowl game he was coming back, but it was kind of nice to see that pen to paper officially signed a new deal.
Exactly.
That broke today.
Yep. And then Keona Davis officially entered the portal, which we all knew was going to happen.
Do you think I know he delayed entering because he's trying to feel some things out behind the scenes with his agent. Do you think he had the option to come back if he wanted to a second time?
If he didn't, he better have, because I feel like the upside there is too good with him.
I feel like he had the option to come back, and this is just spitballing here. This is not a fact by any means.
Yeah.
But when Nebraska landed Anthony Jones, the defensive end from UCLA, I think that was kind of the we're moving on type commitment, because they play the same position. They're both in that 6'4", 6'5", 260, 265 range. I feel like that was them moving on.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I can see that. It feels like the world keeps spinning type of thing. Like we need to figure this out one way or the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hurts to lose him. Again, a lot of potential there, a lot of upside there, but it is what it is. That's part of football. So Keona Davis officially hits the portal. So now let's go ahead and we'll talk about some of these portal gets. Real quick, we can talk about a couple of the cornerbacks if you want. I don't know if you want to talk about the cornerbacks a little bit, but Victor Evans III and Jason Shiggs, those two. So not a whole lot. Like I don't have a lot of film on these guys. However, a couple of sure tacklers. And what were you able to kind of what's your thoughts on these guys?
So with Victor Evans,
I broke him down a little bit, but I'm trying to find my notes here on him.
So I actually I
I
put
found him.
all these notes together for players, and then after I make the videos, I mistakenly deleted them, and so I've been actually trying to like find them again. But in terms of Victor Evans, what I do know, or what I do think, is he is a not a developmental, but like a depth piece, because I don't think Nebraska is 100% certain what they have on the opposite side of Andrew Marshall. Now, there's Donovan Jones, who has plenty of starting experience. Could he be a guy that plays the nickel in the 4-2-5? Could you move him back to safety? We know that's where he started his career at. There's just a lot of variables and not a lot of production on that opposite spot. And so that's what you're getting with Victor Evans. You're getting multiple years of production. You're getting a sure tackler. He had 42 tackles this past season at Florida International. He's not a ball hawk by any means, but one interceptions, a couple PBUs on the year. You're getting experience and pretty good production. So I would look at him to be competing for the starting spot opposite of Andrew Marshall. And if he doesn't get it, he'll probably be in the rotation. Good size, 6'1", 180 or so pounds. Probably would like to see him a little bit bigger, but I like the height. I like the length from Victor.
Yeah. Ironically, both guys are about 6'1", 180.
Yes. And one's a safety.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we really needed was a couple of sure tacklers kind of in that secondary. One of the things we struggle with mightily, as we know, was guys being able to come down and make tackles from that second and third level. And, I'm bringing it up. I'm wearing the shirt, okay? I hate to bring them up, but just to reference, one of the things that the Texans do well is they tackle everywhere, right? Like, you throw the underneath, they're going to come down and make a tackle. Like you don't see teams break tackles on them. I don't think people understand just how important like that is over the course of a game. Like one or two missed tackles can be the difference in the game, especially with how many close games Nebraska plays. So I think it was very important for them to go out and get a couple guys that may need to put a little bit of size on, like you talk about, a little bit undersized, but some guys who can come in here, and have fairly decent length, but can come down and be able to kind of, be sure tacklers. I think it was Jason Shiggs had like 100 tackles over the last couple seasons.
100 tackles over the last 2 years.
Which is
3
crazy.
interceptions.
And so both of them are sophomores. They both have time to develop and room to develop. Or juniors. Are they sophomores or juniors this coming season?
Victor is, let me pull up. I got his page.
I can't remember if they're sophomore. I didn't write that down in my notes.
He's he just finished his redshirt sophomore season, so he's got a junior and senior season left.
Okay.
Shiggs is a true sophomore.
Sophomore. Okay, cool. So yeah, a couple years of development for these guys, but guys that you can come in and plug in and play immediately. So yeah, Towson, not a school that I have film on, so I wasn't able to kind of be able to watch and see kind of what he brings to the table. But just kind of what I looked up, I like the fit.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that you look back at last season and how poor the tackling was. That's something that was very apparent by the way they attacked the defense with the portal. Not only in the second level, but in all levels, honestly. And so I think these are guys I'm higher on Shiggs just from a production standpoint. In 2 years, I mean, even though Townsend's not, this powerhouse program, 100 tackles, 3 interceptions, 5 pass breakups. Like he's got really high level production that looks like the kind of guy that can transition to a group of 4 level very well or a power 4 level very well, just because that production is there. Everyone talks about the Kurt Signetti style and what way he looks for when he looks for production. This is kind of exhibit A of what kind of guy you'd look for from the portal. High production, low cost, low risk as well.
I think one of the things that 100 tackles in 2 years shows me is just he has really good eyes. Like to be able to find the ball and be able to go get it, and that takes you a long ways. Just having good eyes takes you a long way as a corner. It's one of the things that Nebraska struggled with, biting too much on, different actions and stuff like that. You looked at in 2024, Gifford in the middle, like he would bite all the time because he just did not. His eyes weren't good enough. He wasn't watching the ball. Not only his athleticism, just in that position, out of position. I don't want to knock him, but his eyes just weren't good enough. He was watching the players, not the ball. A guy who has 100 tackles over the course of a couple years, that is a guy with good eyes who's going to be able to come down and make a play and be able to kind of stay home. And I think that's the biggest thing Nebraska's defense needs is guys who are able to do their job and stay home and really rely on each other. I think that's been the biggest issue that snuck up last year and really kind of was in this year is just trusting the guy next to you to be able to do his job.
Yeah, there was not a lot of trust in that defense across the board, which is what led to a lot of issues on that defense on all three levels.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to. I just pulled up those notes and I lost my other notes. 1 second here. So let's go ahead and move on to. Well, one thing I will point out before we get to the bigger guys, Danny Kaelin is back. So Daniel Kaelin back is in a Husker uniform. I like the hire. I like the get.
It's more or less a hire at this point.
Yeah. Again, guy with some experience at Nebraska to be able to come in, doesn't have to learn a whole lot. Is going to be able to come in and he knows the guys. He knows a lot of the guys, some of the guys. But he's a guy with experience, knows the campus, knows the coaching staff. So good to see him back. I think it'll be a good depth piece for that room.
I agree. In fact, I was thinking about this the other day. January 2nd, portal opens. By January 4th, you have a quarterback in Minchie. By the 5th, you don't have a quarterback. By the 6th, you have Calandria,
yep,
TJ Lateef, and then 3 days later, Danny Kaelin. This quarterback room for 2026 is actually better than the quarterback room for 2025. You have 3 guys that have started Power 4 games on your roster, on your bench. Mm-hmm. Pretty phenomenal, actually. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are not happy with Rule, and I am kind of teetering between not happy and just kind of writing it out. But you have to acknowledge the way they pivoted so quickly and efficiently to go get Calandria, to go get Kaelin, and secure that quarterback room for. If a guy gets hurt, you have reliable, proven, not proven like in terms of high level production, but guys that have proved they can compete at this level as your second and third string. And I think that's important.
If you bring in an Elite 11, 4-star quarterback to be able to come back and be able to bolster some, depth in your room, that's a pretty good get overall. And all of these guys kind of fit what this offense wants to do. I think that's another thing too, is the fit is there for all these guys. So speaking of the quarterback room, Dylan Raiola commits to Oregon. Of course, we gotta bring this up here. Is it just me, or has the public's opinion of just reading the comments after he committed, stuff like that, like all of a sudden people are talking about like he's going to be this high level quarterback playing for Oregon? Do you agree with that?
I don't think he fits what they do.
That was my thing. It's a little weird to me, the transition from going to Dante Moore to going to Raiola. And if he comes back for next season, they still don't know that. So he's potentially sitting a year behind him. And then of course, I don't know if you saw the picture of the whole family out there. You got Dayton out there as well. All this
it's a
stuff.
Package deal. Dayton's going there too as a walk-on, and he's going to change positions.
So I don't know. I just felt like Oregon would have swung higher to a guy with more, I guess, production, more consistent production. But maybe they're banking on the upside and think that they like what they see in his tools.
Well, I think as a passer, he's very good, and you're banking on the talent around him
to be able to protect him,
elevate him. He does not elevate talent around him. The talent around him elevates him. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. We got to figure out that deep ball, though.
Yes, and I mean, I'll go out on the limb and I'll say it publicly, but I'm not going to divulge too many details. But I know that they were shopping him to Oregon after UCLA.
Yeah,
and
I heard that.
Coach Lanning contacted Rule to let him know that this is what was happening. And then everything started to fall into place after that. That's when they dropped Dayton. The rest is history. I don't want to get into too much of the details, but it's been in the works for a while before, and I don't have much opinion on it anymore. Just wish him the best of luck, and I think he'll be fine there. And hopefully they don't need him to run too much because he does not like to run.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You really make your offense one-dimensional at that point. So,
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the big guys because Nebraska did get a couple of defensive linemen in the portal. May not be exactly what we were looking for in terms of wanting some huge, big defensive linemen.
Yeah.
We got Andy
Burbuja. Yep.
His pronunciation. Some of these names are getting out of control here. 6'2", 290, listed at JUCO All-American. Originally committed to K-State until they switch coaches. So yeah, I guess take your thoughts. What are your thoughts on him?
This is actually a surprising last minute commitment for Nebraska. I think actually, to backtrack a little bit, our new defensive line coach, Cory Brown, has ties to Iowa Western, and we know Nebraska has never been able to get into Iowa Western Community College forever. And despite their defensive line coach, Aaron Terry, who interviewed for Nebraska's defensive line coach position, pumping out 51 Power 4 defensive linemen in the span of 9 years.
Yeah.
And they are less than an hour drive from campus. Nebraska finally goes into Iowa Western Community College and gets Andy. Thankfully, to a coaching change, he actually had bigger offers too. Clemson, he came off an official visit.
Big fish for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Texas Tech brought him in after the coaching change at K-State on an official visit. Who else was involved? Penn State was involved. Auburn was involved. Michigan State was involved. I thought they would be more of a factor because he's from Detroit, which isn't terribly too far away. So this is a big pickup for Nebraska. He had 13.5 sacks this past season. He's a JUCO All-American. He had 18.5 pressures on the year, about 50 tackles on the year. Throughout the last 2 years, he's been a dominant force. He's probably the best defensive line, or one of the best defensive linemen in the entire junior college ranks. Good size, not huge, not like the 320, 330-pound guys we were thinking. But I think at 6'2", 295, he can certainly be a good interior presence to pair with Riley Van Poppel next season. And I don't think, well, yes, we probably still need that big 310-plus pounder to kind of clog the middle. In a four-man front, it is not as imperative to have two big 310-plus pounders. 290, 295 will be fine because you'll have bigger defensive ends. Plus, you'll have linebackers who Nebraska increased the size of the linebacker position as well. The guys they brought in are pretty big.
Yeah, and I think he fits kind of what we were talking about. Sorry, I don't remember if it was Tuesday or Friday show, but we were talking about Signetti going to get these guys from the JUCO ranks who have produced. And that's exactly what he is. He's a guy with production, with numbers that you can, you see on paper. So he's not just one of these upside ceiling guys. And I think that's the biggest thing is we got a guy on this defensive line room improved productions, because one of the biggest issues that we lacked last year coming into it, not only was size, but experience. So now we kind of bolster up a little bit of that experience. Again, JUCO guy, but we just want a production. I don't care if it comes from the JUCO ranks, D1 ranks, as long as he's produced 18.5 TFLs in 12 games. So that should show you
incredible.
It's crazy. So a guy who can come in and disrupt on the interior, and that's exactly what we need, because that's exactly what we're missing last year, getting pushed around on that interior defensive line against teams that had bottom half college football offensive lines at that. Getting pushed around by teams we should not, absolutely not. So he's going to be able to come in and make an impact day one.
Yeah. And I think what Nebraska is doing better with defensive line recruiting this portal season, really compared to the previous years of recruiting, is they're recruiting to their scheme of 4-2-5, where Nebraska used to run the 3-3-5, but they did not recruit to that. You did not see them bring in the 6'2" to 6'4", 320, 330-pound defensive, or the nose tackle, really, or the nose guard that you need to clog up the middle in a 3-3-5. Now in a 4-2-5, You don't need those bigger bodies, but you still need, like, you're not going to just run base package for 60 snaps a game. Like, Nebraska is going to run 3-man fronts. They're going to run a bunch of different fronts, but it helps out getting at least 2 big bodies for your base package.
Yeah. And moving forward a little bit to Jashir Whittington as well. So we can kind of talk about these 2D linemen and, kind of as a package. Jashir Whittington's the guy that is going to have the more potential upside. He's the guy with the less production, the guy with the upside who you're going to come in and try to, develop. But again, he's a little bit undersized. 6 foot is listed at 270, or I was able to find 267 as one of his listings. That was the highest I was able to find.
What's interesting is, sorry to interrupt,
No, go
there's
ahead.
multiple listings on height and weight, and it's very bizarre to me.
Yes.
So, like, certain places have him at 6'2", 270, and then
Sorry,
other places have him at
270.
6 foot. So I don't
Yeah.
know how big he really is.
Yeah, I got 6 foot 270 was what I was able to find. I was able to find 6 foot 267, and then I was able to find 6 foot 270. I also found 255 or 250, which I don't think that's right.
He's like a smaller version of Thad Randall.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes. So yeah, he's a guy who's a little bit undersized, so they're going to need to put some weight on him. But again, they kind of see him probably as a guy who can maybe move around on that line a little bit. We'll see kind of what role he gets, but from what I was able to read on him, just kind of a guy who's able to come in. He played his 4 games in his redshirt freshman year. He had 4 games, then redshirted, and then kind of was able to work himself into an expanded role year 2, able to be part of the rotation. So not a lot of numbers to show for it. Like I said, 11 tackles, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery in 11 games, but did kind of get his first start in the bowl game, so did start a game there towards the end of it, but not a lot of starting experience. So a guy that's going to come in and they're going to work on getting some weight on him and developing him a little bit.
Yeah, and remember a couple of weeks ago we said you just need to get bodies at this point because you don't have enough. Now it helps that Dylan Parrott came back just from having a guy that's bigger, but production is basically next to nothing for Dylan Parrott. So at least with Whittington, you get another bigger body that you can develop behind. Hopefully RVP and just drew a blank. Andy Berberja or Berbija. Something like that.
Berberja.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the rotation though next year. You could see him like if he is a better pass rusher of RVP and Berberja.
Yeah,
you could see him come in on those packages because I know that's what Coach Orich likes to do is like 3rd and longs, 2nd and longs, obvious passing situations. He will take all of his bigs out and he will put in a bunch of pass rushers and then just come after you.
Yep. Anything else on those 2 guys?
No, we can go to our 3rd defensive line.
And one thing, Jashir Whittington has 3 years of eligibility remaining, just for those curious.
That's what.
All right, moving on. Who'd you want to move on to? You said
Anthony Jones, the other.
Oh yeah,
he's our defensive end.
Yep, we'll talk about Anthony Jones. Go ahead.
So this is a hot topic for me. Is guys who transfer constantly. Anthony Jones has been to 5 different Big Ten schools in 5 straight years.
Yes.
Now, I will preface this. I'm not excusing it, but every school, the year he was there, they fired the coach after. So Oregon is when he was there when Mario Cristobal left to Miami. Indiana, they fired the other coach before what's-his-face came in, Signetti. Michigan State fired Mel Tucker. UCLA this past season fired what was his name?
Oh, Deshaun Foster.
Yeah. So every coach, this might be a bad omen, everybody, but every coach at the school he was at gets fired after the year he was there.
For some
there
people,
is at least an exception.
Some people are like, that's a good thing because there's some people that want rule out.
Yeah.
So some people are like,
$70 million that we don't have.
The fans that are going to root against Nebraska next year.
But when I look at him, I see a guy that's 6'5", 265 pounds. Yep. I see a guy that is not a great pass rusher. 3.5 sacks over the course of his career, 1.5 last year, 2 at the year prior at Michigan State. I look at a guy that you're hoping to set the edge, as opposed to getting blown off the ball and ran back 3 or 4 yards. A guy that can hold his own in the trenches hold up those linemen so your linebackers and your secondary can come down and run fits and free up those guys to go make a play. That's kind of what my expectation is. I don't look at him as a starter. I would look at him to compete along the side. You know, Williams and Warren is going to lock down one side, but competing with Cade Petchak, competing with Cam Lenhart for snaps, probably in a heavier set pass rushing, rundown situations, obvious pass situations. You're probably bringing in Petsack and Williams Nwarni on the edges.
Yeah. What he gives you is length. You know, he does give you length, so you got somebody who can come in and potentially disrupt, you know, get his hands in the air. But yeah, like you said, not a ton of pass rush, you know, ability, but again, a lot of length, and I think that'll really be something Nebraska needs on this defensive line because it's something they do lack a little bit with some of these guys. So, do you want to move to the offensive line?
Yeah, let's do it. That's where Nebraska, you know, when Rule said we have the money to compete with anybody, this is where that money showed up more than anywhere. That and linebacker.
Paul Mubanga. Mubanga.
I don't know. So, Nebraska really decided to go with some crazy names for their offensive linemen.
6'5", 317 pounds. So pretty solid guy, going to be bolstering the left guard position. So, I mean, it kind of looks like Nebraska has their offensive line together. You're going to have Pritchett at left tackle. You're going to have Mubanga at left guard. Evans at center.
Brendan Black
at right guard. And then Tree Babalade at right tackle.
Yeah.
And then that's your line right there. There
shouldn't be line. I'll take that.
Shouldn't be any debate on that. That's your offensive line. And give Jeep Wade a chance to come in and kind of develop some of these guys. I like the size there. You know, everybody there, you know, over 310 pounds, 6'2" or above. So I do like the size. I think this offensive line can take a pretty big jump this next season.
I think it's fairly obvious in Jeep Wade's short time. He did not like that line.
Not at all.
And that
I don't blame him one bit.
Fairly obvious because they got rid of a couple players and they brought in some dudes that are immediate impact starter guys, SEC guys, which helps for all those people that think the SEC is the greatest conference in the world. But what I like about this is they've added athletic ability. And what I mean by that is there's guys that can pull. And what I've been saying all off season or even before was Nebraska, their offense is shifting to more quarterback centric run game to go along with their running backs.
Yeah.
And then when they got Minchie, I was a little confused because I was expecting more of a running quarterback like what we got with Calandria. Getting this offensive line to me is telling us you're going to see QB counters. You're going to see a lot more unique run schemes. And you need these linemen to be able to pull and get out in space and get to the second level a lot quicker, where Nebraska just wasn't doing that much last year.
Yeah. One of the things that, we really struggled with was the feet of our linemen. And especially with Holgerson's system, you need guys who can move. Just, you know, with the run game, you have wider splits. So you need guys with a little bit more athletic feet than your traditional just line it up gap run scheme. So, you know, I like the combination of size and athleticism. And I think to your point, but now one thing though, Paul Mubanga doesn't get a lot of love from, it kind of reminds me of how fans talked about Elijah Pritchett from Alabama fans, LSU fans, how they talk about Paul Mubanga. It is a player leaving the program. However, they make him sound like he was the worst offensive lineman they've ever had.
He started 5 games as a redshirt freshman. He's only been playing football since his freshman year in high school when he moved here from Congo. Got too big for playing soccer, so he started playing football. This might be Nebraska's best player to come from Buford High School.
Interesting.
I like him.
I'm echoing, by the way.
Oh, I will back out.
See you in a second. All right, we're going to let him slide back in here. I'm about to dive into some of y'all's comments here. What's up, William? Appreciate you hopping in here. Go Big Red. Go Big Red. What's up, Nick? Appreciate you hopping in here. Jam-packed video. That it is. Howdy, y'all. Eckler leaves. Nebraska fans will too. Beck leaves a right at dawn. I guess since we've already got some of those comments,
Nothing's breaking right now, so I feel like at the 35-minute mark, we're good to address it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. So I'll let you give a little bit more kind of news here, or not news, but just speculation here. But it is speculated that Eckler might be out.
By
and going
out,
to
we
the
mean
West.
yes. So on X late last night, there was rumors that USC was trying to do something to get Eckler to become the special teams coordinator. I really didn't think much of it. And then I got a message on X from someone that said, like, that's all their timeline is. And I was like, I haven't really heard much to substantiate that other than just internet rumors. And then my buddy sent me the screenshot from 247's USC site that says that USC, I can pull it back up, but USC is basically they're looking through Eckler's contract at Nebraska to try and strike a deal. Or yeah, okay, I got it pulled up here. Sounds like USC, and this is from their staff at 247. Sounds like USC is working through Eckler's contract at Nebraska to get a deal done. He may also coach the linebackers. Lots of moving pieces. Nothing is set in stone, but that's the latest I've heard. What I think part of the issue is Coach Eckler wants to coach linebackers as well. He's always done that. He's always been a linebackers coach and special teams coordinator since he kind of reinvented his career as a special teams coordinator. He did it back at, I think he was at North Texas, and then at Tennessee, he did that as well. And he's just doing special teams here. And I think he got that taste during the bowl season where he's like, man, I miss coaching defense. I want this. And Nebraska's just not offering him that option because we have Rob Dvorak and Rob Orish, who is Nebraska's defensive coordinator, who specializes in linebackers, which is also Eckler's specialty, which is also a position we don't have.
Yes. Yeah.
And so from a financial perspective, I'd pay him whatever you want. Whatever his number is, you pay him.
Yeah. And I think it made sense originally bring him in as a special teams coach because it was that bad. Like we needed him to come in and just focus on that. You know, I think now it's to the point where it's like, you've had that year. You saw what he did. You got to do whatever you got to do to keep him. I don't care what it is, because this could ruin Nebraska's offseason. You know, because not only that, it's a little late in the process. So like then you got to pivot and try to figure out where to go from there to be able to continue, you know, because he's had 1 year coaching the special team. So it hasn't been a completely, you know, he was able to come in and make an immediate impact, change out some of the players, put starters on there, you know, whatever. But it's not like he's been here and built that special teams up to the point where I think somebody could just come in and sustain it, you know? Like I feel like he needs a couple more years, you know, to really just bolster up this special teams unit. And yeah, they got to do whatever they got to do, pay him whatever, give him whatever title they want to keep him.
And I'll add, he brought in Archie.
Yes.
He brought in the place kicker from Australia this past season. So there's things that are outside of like his family, obviously being from here and his parents being older, being here. But the players he's brought from Australia, that is important for him to be there for their development, especially one's a redshirt, or no, one's a sophomore next season and one's a true freshman. And those players, if he does leave, it has to happen before the 16th so that those guys can leave. Because what I imagine is going to happen is the exact same thing that happened last offseason, but in reverse. Coach Rule is going to go back to the way he did special teams. You're no longer going to need an Aussie punter. You're going to need the Cook kid. Just drew a blank on his name. Sam Cook's son that's also on the
Camden.
Punter. Yeah, Camden Cook. I feel like that's the natural progression for his to rule, go back to that. And so now you don't have a place for Archie, and he doesn't have a place to go because the portal is closed. And so if this is going to happen, for Archie's sake, I would like it to happen sooner so that he has somewhere else to go, because Nebraska likely is not going to retain the specialist coaches that Coach Eckler brought with him from Tennessee, because they've kind of been following him throughout his career for the last handful of stops. And so it puts your player in a bad position who's already far away from his family, but it also just puts your special teams in a bad position, because like we mentioned before we went live, Nebraska special teams went from costing them 4 games to winning them 4 games. And that's putting it in like the most simplistic terms possible for the impact he made.
Yeah. How many times do we talk about this year? Just come on the show and immediately just like give the special teams credit before we tore into the offense and defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know how hard it is to be the only good unit on a poorly coached team overall, on a team that can't manage the clock and do anything. Like, you're like it's like that old meme where it's like the golden trash bag mixed in with all the black trash bags. Like, that was our special teams. Like, it's so hard to do that. And that's just the kind of energy and electricity and just how good he is at that. And this is the most important decision right here, is to retain him, in my opinion.
And what sucks is it took Will Compton to get them connected. And to me, that's damning on Rule, because he openly admitted that. And I would never have openly admitted and been like, yeah, I needed a former player to link me up with Mike Eckler, who turns out
the
to
best
be my
hire
best
I made.
hire I've ever made, probably at any of my stops.
Yeah. Really the only like locked in hire that we've been like, yeah, that was a good hire. The rest are arguably terrible. I can't even think of another one that I can grade as good right now outside of Mike Eckler.
I mean, to look at what Jacory did as a punt returner this year, he eclipsed.
Okay, wait. Let me backtrack on that. Not talking about like, Corey Campbell. Talking about like some of these secondary, hires he's made. But go ahead.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah.
But to look at what he did just from a Jacory Barney punt return standpoint, he eclipsed in punt return yards after 3 games this year, what Nebraska had in the past.
DeMornay Pearsonell.
Yeah. So from his last year, which would have been 2016. So from 2017 to 2024, Jacory Barney had more punt return yards in 3 games in 2025 than we had in that entire time span.
And
absolutely
mind you,
insane.
Jacory Barney didn't even improve as a receiver, but he improved as a returner, So again, the coaching impact in that specific scenario.
We'll look at Kenneth Williams too.
Yeah.
He's an all-conference kick returner. Both your returners were all-conference returners. And Kenneth Williams is probably going to get a pretty decent group of 5 offer out of the portal, or a small Power 4 school. Like, I'm not saying KU, but I'm thinking a school along the lines of KU where like, yeah, you know what? We'll let you compete in the running back room and you're going to be our starting kick returner.
Yep. Let's dive into some of these comments here before we get into the basketball game. Eck better be given whatever he wants to stay. Agree. Let's talk more liking. Yes, we would appreciate it. 141 people in here, so we'd appreciate it if y'all drop a like. Really, really helps us out, and we're terrible at asking for them. We'd like to come on and talk about
subscribe as well.
We're not good at asking for subscribers and likes, because we should like to come on here and talk ball, and we just hope y'all join us. So if y'all don't mind, takes 2 seconds, just drop a like. Please, really helps us out. Appreciate that. What's going on, Lindsay? Appreciate you hopping in here. Tell me it isn't so. Eck is the man. It isn't so yet. The rumors are so, but he's, as of right now, still Husker. So hope I didn't jinx that. Eckler leaving would be a monumental blow to our coaching staff. Do you think Rule at the very least matches? If he doesn't, we riot.
Do we know what his salary is here?
I don't.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
1 point. I forgot. I used to know. 1.6 mil. I don't know. It's like the highest paid coach on this.
He's very well paid.
Yes.
All right, I got it. $625 annually.
Oh, 620.
So bump it up to freaking 800. I thought he was over
a mil. Who was over a mil then? Somebody's over 1 point.
Dana Holgerson.
Am I thinking of what Satterfield was making?
Before his new contract,
I think, okay, that's probably what it was.
So make it all your coordinators $1 million minimum.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? This is the most important phase of the game. It literally won us 4 games this year.
Yep. Matt Rule literally's job could hinge on the fact that our special teams needs to be good.
Yeah.
We'll say this: if Eckler sees a sinking ship, why not jump off? He has a career to think about. Matt Rule. Thing is, his unit isn't the sinking ship. So if
He will
you're
get a job regardless.
if you're the polished turd in the toilet, you look even that much better. You know, he has coaching opportunities that are going to open up to him every single year. He'll have his pick of the litter for sure. What's going on, Rashawn? I appreciate you hopping in here, man. We have enough money for assistants. Do whatever you got to do to keep Eckler.
Exactly.
We need that Warren Buffett. We just need that donation thrown in there. Just one, bro. Just give us $1 billion. You know? What's up, David? Appreciate you hopping in here. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? What's going on, GBR Captain? I love that UNL's recruited in the 500-mile radius again. The Oregon game next year should be interesting. That's if it'll be interesting regardless, but that's if Raiola starts.
Yeah.
We'll see about Dante Moore. All right. Texans fly around on defense. Yeah. Swarm. That's the motto of the defense. Swarm. I'm thinking about taking a Firewatch job, says part-time so many months could lead to a full-time. What?
What's happening?
Might be talking within themselves. Rule knows Eck better than him because Watson Trent worked out so well. All that I know is that the human body cannot digest corn. Okay.
All I'm thinking about is the fat. I can't say it probably, but that character from Austin Powers, corn. I didn't have any corn.
You don't know. I'm supposed to see that movie.
It's a great movie.
Kalen could also beat out Latif for 27 starting jobs, and Kalen can run if needed. Go watch this. Yeah, that's the thing. He fits kind of the mold of what this offense wants to do. That's why I don't think Nebraska will miss a beat. If one of these guys goes down, you got a guy who can come in and just continue what we were doing offensively. It's not going to be like when Raiola went down against USC, and you got to change the game plan up a little bit, for a guy who's a little bit more mobile, a lot more mobile, not a little bit. Today, Sip mentioned that Nebraska essentially told Raiola to hit the portal. Interesting plot twist. After the background news, I don't blame them.
There's a lot that happened that's just not good. That they basically told him to leave, stay away.
That the Raiola name is going to be an interesting name around Lincoln now. For all the wrong reasons.
You keep the dad's name on the stadium for principle. Again, it's one of the names that you're probably not cleaning consistently to keep it nice and shiny.
It's been dirty. For sure. Miami's running back is from Nebraska. Yes. We talked about old Sharmar Brown. If Eck leaves, do we lose Archie too since Eck brought him here? Probably, potentially.
Kind of
I'm glad Kalen is back, a Nebraska kid who really wants to play for Nebraska. Yeah, decommitted from Missouri originally. Was committed to Missouri, decommitted to from Missouri to commit to Nebraska in that year. It was Missouri, right? Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Very
ironically, he'd probably be starting at Missouri right now.
100% would be. Rule said if you can't help him beat Ohio State or Michigan, then he's recruiting you from Nebraska. Now he's eating those words. Runs a rule. Watch Dylan commit to 3 more teams before entering the 2026 season. That list that they put out
in 7 years.
That's crazy. I would leave if I were Eckler. Well, good thing, Krager. Good thing you're not relevant to anybody. So I'm still glad the Raiola family is gone. I'm just kidding, Krager. Don't take that personally. Dylan Concrete Cleat. Special teams aren't helping Nebraska next year. If Eckler's back, they will. Wonder how many times DR changed the play.
It was a lot.
It was. Won a championships last season. All right. So we got about 10 minutes. We got a lot of comments to dive into. So let's go ahead and jump into Nebraska basketball real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to do like a brief basketball segment?
Yeah, let's finish off with that.
All right. So
kind of as you do that, I'll kind of filter through these comments and see which ones we want to touch on.
Okay. So Nebraska ball plays tonight. So let's take a look at the spread. Here's your money line. Nebraska's favored by 10.5 tonight. I personally think this is going to be a closer game. As we talked before the show, I think Oregon's length is going to be a problem for Nebraska. They have 3 guys that are over 6'10". They're starting one of their starters and their best players is out, which helps Nebraska. But just from a length perspective, 3 guys over 6'10", that's going to cause problems in the paint for Nebraska. I'm hoping that rank mass being the 0.5, if you will, helps pull their defense out and keep the paint clear. But that length will just cause problems naturally for Nebraska. But at -10.5, if I'm a betting man here, I'm picking Nebraska to win, but I'm not thinking 10.5. I'm thinking that's probably closer. I'd say like 7 to 8 points, maybe 9 points that Nebraska wins by tonight. So other than that, I mean, I don't have a ton on the basketball side of things. I'm just like, I'm really proud of Fred Hoiberg, and I think it's a very important thing to point out is he was willing to adapt and change, and he realized after a handful of years that his style was not working. He let go of Matt Abdelmassih, and he reinvented himself, if you will, and has built a really good program. He got old. Nebraska's starting lineup, every single player is a junior or a senior. Even Connor Essegian, before he got hurt coming off the bench, was a senior. I believe he's going to get a medical red shirt. Your only guy that you're bringing off the bench that isn't an upperclassman is Braden Frager, who's probably Nebraska's best NBA prospect right now. Like his athletic ability and his ability to stretch the floor and slash and just do so many different things.
Just step up in big time moments too.
Yeah, just think back to the Indiana game,
him, bro. He wants the moment.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Like I joke that he grew up playing at like Rucker Park.
Yeah,
like just playing in the hood, playing against a bunch of athletes, and just happened to, be able to stroke it from 3 and be able to drive to the hoop and rise up and just dunk on somebody. Like that kid's a freak.
By the way, I pulled this comment up because I just wanted Kreger to feel heard because it just seems like he's just a sad person. So obviously not clickbait.
Nothing to see here.
But if it was clickbait, it
reported
worked
by national outlets.
If it was clickbait, it worked on you because look how many times it got you to comment about Eckler. So I appreciate that. Thank you for helping the algorithm. Hit that like button, y'all. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. Pitt has him at 6 feet 270 since that's where he is now. I think it's a good baseline. Ex-parents live in Blair, don't they? That yes. I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, okay. They're in Blair.
Let's see. I don't know how much they're paying these guys with the portal classes, all 3 stars, so there should be plenty of money left to get some top skill players, like 4. Yeah. It would be nice to go get some 4 5-star guys.
I bet you that offensive line.
You guys need Kreger's comments.
$4 million between the 3 guys.
I just like to see Kreger crash out constantly. It's fun. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That offensive line haul is probably exceeds $4 million between Tree Babalade, Brendan Black, and Paul Mobanga.
Offensive linemen are a premium because how many good offensive lines are there? Like it's hard to field a good offensive line. Honestly, it really, really is. But we got an O-line coach named Jeep. That we do. What's going on, Caleb? Appreciate you hopping in here. Good old Gideon Pillow Wade the 4th. What the hell?
That's his actual name.
Is it?
Yes.
How did I not know that?
And then it got changed. They had like a nickname in his family or something, and then it just morphed into Jeep. It's a nice Jeep.
I love that. Kreger, what are you, a 3-year-old? Might be 4, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Rule better have a season of his life or he will be fired. It's got to be a couple years before I fire him. We owe him so much money. Yeah, it's way too much money to be able to fire him after this season. Dang happy about the O-line pickups. Yeah, I like that we needed some talk about the trenches, man. So I'm glad we got that. Let's see. When the Regent can stomach the number for the buyout rule be gone, they're not going to be able to stomach this number. I'm telling you.
It's $70 million, and you're about to put $800 million into a stadium renovation next year. Yeah. Like this time next year, South End Zone's going to be blown up.
There's the 30-minute echo. Yeah. It actually it's about 30.
It's worth not fixing because it's become an integral part of our
show.
And
we don't even know why it happens. It's StreamYard. It's like the software we use, and we can't not like you've switched mics, and like I have a full audio interface hookup and headphones, so it's not echoing through my computer or anything. I don't understand.
It's bizarre.
I don't understand. I haven't seen any development players the last 5 seasons, so star rating means a hell of a lot more than you think. It doesn't, even 5 stars need development too. One of the things that Ohio State does better, Ohio State and teams like that do better than anybody, is they develop their guys. So those 5 stars turn into what they do, because I mean, Ohio State puts more 3 stars in the NFL than anybody too. So you still got to develop those guys. USC better give him back. It's expensive to live in Cali. Let's see. Look at that background. 10 out of 10. Shout out to the background. I actually should have brought that up earlier because I do like that.
That's my wife. That's all her. That's my job. We have a big studio in our offices, and they gave me all this soundproofing, and then we finally hung up my memorabilia.
I appreciate you. Broke Matt Rule always hits the like button. For those that don't know, this is Broke Matt Rule. Cory Brown was ineffective in the Vegas Bowls and a few other games, so he wasn't all that. I get stroking over special teams, but there was still quite a bit that needed better. Listen, did you see the jump the special teams made? Okay.
That's why you keep Eckler.
That's all we need. Because like I was telling you before the show, like, it's not like he came in, or maybe did I say strange? Not he came in and took it average special teams to good. He took a god-awful special teams unit that was losing us games and turned them into a unit that was winning us games in 1 year.
And it was top 15 nationally.
After he came from a school that had one of the top special teams units in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They deserve their credit for sure. We need tight end position bad. Why can't Nebraska go after Jordan? Yeah. Who are we?
Dude, that guy probably is going to get $3 million.
Jordan Seaton?
Yeah, and you have Elijah Pritchett.
Yeah, well, our offensive line is pretty set. I think it's pretty set in stone right now.
Yeah.
Unless they're able to just kind of pull a cat out of a bag and get a deal on somebody who, but I think I kind of like the way our offensive line sits right now.
Yeah. Me too.
I would love to go get a running back, some more big boys in the trenches. That I agree with for sure. The trenches did get better, but always use depth at those positions. And we definitely need to go after running back for sure. Not that I dislike our running back room, but again, more depth, more experience needed. A lot more experience needed. If Buffett set up a trust for UNL Sports, put in $1.5 billion, we could fund NIL for all sports 100%. Nebraska is not going to pay $2 to $3 million to get Seaton. Absolutely not. Let's see. Nebraska ball, yes, sir. Let's see. Trying to see if there's anything more. We have to pay Frosty too. I'm saying they will fire him when they stomach the buyout. Oh, I got you. That makes sense. Okay, yeah. How about we get a true edge rusher? Easier said than done.
Well, I'm curious what they do with Wilson McGahee now that he came back. Does he go to linebacker? He's a little undersized at an edge, but those size guys have actually had been really good in.
Thing is, you could package him. Yeah, he plays so fast that I think he could just be such a nightmare no matter where you put him.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that runs us through the comments. We need a running back. Look at the running back from Texas. Yeah, we talked about him a couple weeks ago. Would you prefer him or Charmar Brown?
Charmar Brown.
I agree. I think I agree with that. Because either one, I would be happy.
Texas running back got pushed out of Texas. They don't want him.
Yeah, but I like the potential there. But Charmar Brown is, he got playoff experience and more experience, and he's just been better.
Yeah.
But
also facts on the username there.
Trevor sucks. Oops. Oh, I thought I banned somebody on accident. Nuarni, you're going to eat QBs this year. Charmar is coming home. Is there any smoke with Charmar, though? Yes, there has been. Well,
there's smoke
to an extent, yeah.
But we just haven't seen the fire.
Yeah, exactly. There's a kindling going, but we'll see. All right. So anything else before we go ahead and wrap up here? Is there anything I missed?
No, I think you're good. We got Nebraska ball on here soon. The next 8 o'clock tip. So
yep. So that's
gonna be a big one tonight. Can Nebraska go to 17-0?
Man,
holy smokes!
Crazy.
What a tear they are on.
CBS Sports had Nebraska ranked as number 4. What did we officially rank? Number 8. So
number 8.
Yeah. So going to be a big one tonight. Again, we talked about a little bit. Oregon has a lot of length on that team. Not a great team, 8-8, but a lot of length on that team. So they can give Nebraska some problems if they use it properly. But I just think Nebraska is a little too athletic. So
Yeah. So for your bettors out there,
oops.
here's the info from FanDuel for you. Make
Minus
your
10
picks as you will. I'm taking Nebraska to win, but not by 10.5. Talking 6, 7, 8 points, maybe 9.
I'm going to lay $750 to win 100. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Look,
absolutely
just bet your mortgage on it, guys.
I'm absolutely not going to do that. So
Don't
yeah.
do that.
Game's tipping off here within the next hour?
I think tip off is 8. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is it 8 Central or 8 Eastern?
I don't know. Might be something with so in an hour.
Yeah.
7:00 my time. So maybe Dylan will be there. It's in Nebraska. He's probably in Oregon right now, just chilling. So
yes,
UNL might blow him out. Absolutely should. All right. Well, I'm echoing again, so it seems like a good time to close the show. So, Brian, do you want to wrap it up since I'm echoing?
Yes, sir. Alrighty. Well, Husker got our call-in show on Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But until then, see you on the next one. Peace.